Good day, YouTubers, and thank you for tuning in to the day's voting video on YouTube. Now, this one's going to be a bit of a gardening special. Unfortunately, some of the zinnias have actually started to see some decay and decomposition. Oh my goodness me! There's actually been some decomposition with the nasturtiums. In fact, this one here is breaking. I feel like these plants need a good. I think I need to put them into new compost plants because this one looks like it's breaking up. But there's also, in fact, it's not looking that great. We've actually seen a lot of nasturtiums having a hard time today. Now, I wonder what's going on. I feel like the roots have basically broken off in this thing. And also the compost. I might have to somehow start re-implementing some compost onto it, because this whole plant pot, it must have been broken up because there's been a lot of movement caused by birds and rodents. There's been a lot of that going around here, and apart from what I'm seeing, there's also an amazing birth of parsley seedlings, which have also started to come out. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do with my backyard garden's nasturtiums. Maybe I need to somehow think about transplanting those plants, because I do know that by the looks of them, the roots, I think this one here is starting to break up. But what I'm going to be talking about in this video is, apart from the fact I'm seeing lots and lots of nasturtiums sort of dying out, this cosmos here is actually doing okay, and so is the zinnia plant. They're doing alright and fine, hey? But at the same time, I'm starting to see some great bits of adversity. But what this video is going to be much more about is all going to be straightforward of what this garden is going to look like in a few moments' time, because obviously I'm going to be seeing a far greater change than what I had so far. In fact, I've been somehow keeping in touch and managing my plants. I'll show straightforward deadhead and trim this plant just a bit, because there's somehow going to be a lot of new constant phases of changes along the way here. Okay, so what I'm looking out for is that, although, yeah, I can't believe, look at this wild cabbage. It's actually gone somehow everywhere. This is a very massive plant. So at the time of making this video, there's actually going to be quite a lot of things somehow. We've got some gardeners, landlord council gardeners, who are about to come along and trim off this garden. But what I'm thinking about at the moment is that by the time as I'm doing this video here, there's actually going to be a lot of things relating to it, because, oh look, I've just broken off this wild cabbage plant. Oops, that was very bad. I can just straightforward somehow leave it to death. I'm just going to cut down and trim back this plant, because I need to make some more space. And this one here is also breaking apart. Yeah, I somehow can't believe, look at that. I can just somehow pull apart this plant, because I want to try and somehow keep this plant. Hopefully, if I try and maybe put it into a different spot, hopefully it should somehow develop like new roots and stuff. It's one of those things. I'm just having a bit of a hard time transplanting plant after plant. It's crazy as heck. And then we've also got more plants of the same thing. Are these like, I can't really tell. Is that parsley? Probably thinking it's parsley, but hey, who knows about that? Right, I'm basically like deadheading some of these bits which don't need to be seen, like this one right here. Okay, so I'm just straightforward deadheading this back of the wild cabbage. So I'm just straightforward like planting, because I know it's straightforward invading and taking over other spots of various other plants. But hey, I'm just making a bit of space that I'm trying to take out, because, you know, hey, and I know I've actually got some sort of maths exam today. Although I've got that covered, I'm basically deadheading and cutting back this plant so I can somehow like make room for other flowers and other plants to appear. Okay, so that's going to be about it. Maybe I can just put it right over somewhere else. I don't know. I'm just straightforward like wrecking the whole plant, but then I'm just, hey, you know what? I'm just clearing and just basically I'm just cutting down this plant. I know the flowers are sort of dying in this sort of plant, but then, hey, you know, I'm somehow thinking, where should I put it? Maybe around there. I'll probably guess so. I dare say that plant will straightforward stay as it is and will have no effect of it being trimmed. I will hope it'll just grow back some more of those similar appendages of what you've seen just before. Okay, I've just cut back the wild cabbage flower and also the forget-me-not, but the forget-me-not is actually straightforward singing like that. But there's also nettles here, which I really don't like, and also that dandelion here as well too. I actually want this section here to be kept because that's where all my plants are going to be seated somehow. But there's also like other things I've also started to plant. There's also this bit right there, there's mint, and there's also these weird looking things. It looks like something you find in like fields of, I don't know, corn, maize. There's petunia, which hasn't started to flower. I don't know why, but anyways, we've got a lot of adverse moments with the plants. This zinnia here is actually doing okay-ish. I might have to somehow start watering all over again because those plants have been messed up by the animals. I might have to come along and recompost those plants and, you know, maybe probably even transplant some of the ones that haven't been transplanted that well. I'm somehow quite curious to just acknowledge. Maybe I can just somehow put... What I could do is I could bring these plants and probably transplant them into this big plant pot. What do you reckon? Would this work? I'm probably thinking yes, it will. But anyways, I'm going to straightforward show you the official plan of what's going to be happening today. All what's going to happen is I'm going to keep this big clump of meadow plants right here. Okay, but the things I really want to straightforward have it being cut down is this clump of grass and also right over here, but not approaching to either here or there because there's actually already some seeds growing right here. So I can just straightforward take a photo or a snapshot to see that there's actually like seedlings right there. I can just probably put something to indicate here. Maybe I can just put a box or probably put this right here. I can just put this, I can put this bag right here just to indicate there's something right here. There's some sort of line that crosses it. And there's actually a very huge invasion of like spiny plants and spiky plants. That's really wrong. There's also like thorny vines just dangling right over hedgerows. That's something I want to get rid of. And also because I wasted so much time and I failed growing that foxglove. Well, actually that foxglove is actually doing well. Somehow it's not the foxglove. It's actually this type of flower, which I've got no idea. That can actually be straightforward gone because it's sitting next to those dead foxgloves. And there's more flowers here. I want this gone. Possibly this dandelion here. I think the rest of it, but not towards where the radishes are. Okay, so I want this all cleared, but not where this compost box indicates here that there is something I don't want to cut, and that is this here, the cornflower. So basically, when the gardener comes, I'll straightforward acknowledge him, that I'll straightforward be happy to basically notify that I'll be able to preserve my garden as the way it is. And hopefully that shouldn't be too bad in the way I trim and look after my whole garden. Anyways, that should straightforward be about it in today's video. If you really enjoyed it, please give this video a good like, subscribe for more for that videos in the future, and as always, thanks so much for watching, and that's what the big changes are going to be happening. So, you're going to see the garden in a totally different makeover. As always, thanks for watching again, and bye for now.